Okay, today is for control cable release, and we've got 4 control cables to release. Okay, first one's here, and that is the accelerator control for the carburetor. Next one's here, that is the speedometer drive gear, goes into the back of the gearbox there. While we're on the way, I'll see if I can get it in frame. There's a little square hole in the bulkhead there. That is for the hood release cable. Hood release should bolt there. Next one is the choke control for the carburetor. That's right there. And the last one is this big beefy boy here, and that is the clutch release. 3 of those cables disconnected okay. That's the clutch release and the 2 carburetor cables. The speedometer cable has kind of permanently attached itself to the gearbox, so it's sunk in there and I can't get it out at the minute. So the plan is that hopefully I can get it out of the car, bring it through into the engine bay, coil it up, strap it to the engine, and it's not going to get in the way for removing the engine, and I'll deal with it when the gearbox is separated and on the floor. I can hopefully unbolt some bits at the end of the gearbox there, get the whole thing out on the bench and see if I can extract the cable. If I can salvage the cable, great. If I can't, I've got to find a replacement. Another interesting point to note is the control cables for the carburetor. They attach through, well, they anchor, I should say, to the carburetor. Accelerator there, and the choke is at the back, right in there. And the way I remove them is as follows. There we go. I spun these nuts off so that they would fit in there. Okay, so that nut was up there. I spun that off, pulled the cable back, got it out like so through the little cutout, pulled the cable back, and then released it. So I had enough slack to get that little lug out of that little hole. That lug, that hole. There is a cutout on the side of the hole to allow the cable to go through. I did that. It's the same process for both the accelerator and the choke. Now then, not a problem at the minute per se, but it's just worthy of mentioning, is something I found on the clutch release cable. This terminates in that lug, just like the ones on the carburetor, and that plastic section there. Now all that assembly there should fit through the underside of the release lever, which is there. As you can see, there's a nice big hole. Nice big connection there, and a little slot there for the cable to go through. Now I don't know who installed this, but they'd not got it right. That was the only bit on the underside of the arm. All that was just above it, which meant if that little lug had slipped out of place, which was possible, then the whole thing could have just popped straight out the lever. That was really quite unpleasant. I can't believe that it actually stayed there for so long, but there you go. What's even worse is that if we look at the end of the ferrule here on the sheath, it appears the control cable has actually been biting through it. I think that's actually cut its way through. I've never seen that before. But that appears to have cut its way through, like a cheese wire, the terminus on the cable. So my mother-in-law was obviously driving this for quite considerable time, and it was working. Scary but true. And what makes it even more interesting is, as I was taking it apart, I found this. It's a nut. It's a big old nut. Has someone cut a piece out the side of it, or did the control cable just work its way through over the years? I wouldn't like to say, but I don't think that should be there, do you? So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully I won't have to replace the cable. I want to keep the original cable, but we'll see. With damage like that, can it be left? See, originality is what I'm going for, but you know what? I'll have to see. I have to see. So yeah, a nut and some really bad mechanicking there. But hopefully we can continue to plough ahead. Next I'm going to go for a complete decluttering of that inner wing there. That should be a lot of fun, and after that it'll be yank the starter motor. Then I'll consult the big book of Honda and make sure I've done everything for the top end. Then at some point I've got to go underneath, release the exhaust, release axles, etc, etc. So that should be a lot of fun.